On a hot early June day, I was getting ready to pick up my granddaughter Lily. As I grabbed my car keys by the front door, I glanced up at the Nevada sky, brilliant and bright. The thermometer already read 86 degrees Fahrenheit, but thanks to Reno's characteristic dry air, it wasn't too uncomfortable. The geraniums in my front porch planters were blooming bright red. I'm Patricia Carter, and I've spent 30 years teaching in this city. First as an elementary school teacher, then as an assistant principal, I've watched countless children grow up. Now retired, I do a bit of real estate work, and nothing brings me more joy than when my former students come looking for houses. Just last week, a student from 20 years ago signed a contract, saying, "I trust any house you recommend, teacher." I've lived in this house in the De Monte Ranch district for 15 years. The neighbors are warm and friendly, and weekend barbecues in our yards have become a tradition. In this quiet residential area with the Sierra Nevada mountains as a backdrop, picking up and dropping off Lily has become my daily routine. Every morning, I have breakfast at Denny's. This morning too, I was checking Lily's pickup schedule while spreading out the newspaper at my regular table. Betty, the waitress, brought over the usual black coffee and an English muffin. The local paper reported on a casino-related debt collection incident. While not uncommon in this city, for some reason, I felt compelled to clip the article this morning. Grandma. In the evening, when I went to pick her up, Lily came running toward me in front of the McKinley Arts and Culture Center, clutching her piano lesson bag. This tall 10-year-old is the daughter of my son Mark and his wife, or perhaps soon-to-be ex-wife Jennifer. With her sensitive nature, she's known as quite the accomplished pianist at her music school. At last year's recital, she captivated the audience with a perfect rendition of a Mozart sonata. "How was your lesson today?" "I played Chopin's Etude perfectly." The teacher praised me. Pride mixed in Lily's voice as she climbed into the back seat. This is one of my greatest joys, watching my granddaughter grow up from such a close distance. Lily has her mother's green eyes and her father's straight nose. The neighbors often say she takes after me in personality. But lately, a dark shadow has been creeping into this daily life. Mark and Jennifer's divorce mediation had begun. Jennifer works as a dealer at the Grand Sierra Resort, while Mark serves as a project manager at a construction company. Their relationship seemed fine on the surface, but it suddenly grew cold 6 months ago. Jennifer's behavior changed around that time too. Her night shifts increased, her complexion worsened, and her voice on the phone seemed somehow hollow. Discussions about child support and custody have become contentious. Mark is demanding full custody, while Jennifer strongly resists. Meanwhile, I've taken on the responsibility of driving Lily around. Last month, I bought a used Honda CR-V specifically for these pickup duties. The dealer assured me, it's 3 years old, but in excellent condition. "Hey, Grandma," Lily leaned forward from the back seat. "Mom came to the house yesterday." I studied my granddaughter's expression in the rearview mirror. Early evening, when Mark would be away from work. Jennifer rarely visits outside of court-appointed visitation days. That's unusual. Did she say anything? No, but she was acting strange. Her eyes were really red, and she hugged me really tight and said, "Watch out for car noises." When I heard those words, a chill ran down my spine. but I couldn't understand the source of this unease. At that time, I couldn't imagine this would be the last of our peaceful daily routine. The morning news article about casino-related debt collection crossed my mind. But since such incidents weren't uncommon in this city, I didn't give it much thought. The slight unease I felt when starting the engine, I attributed to not being used to the new car. The brakes seemed a bit less responsive than usual, but I convinced myself it was just my imagination. In Reno, on the verge of summer vacation, our fate was about to take a dramatic turn as we approached Mount Rose Highway. In the distance, the garish neon signs of the casinos glowed mechanically, as if foreseeing the tragedy to come. The anomaly occurred during Tuesday's twilight hours. I was preparing dinner. Through the kitchen window, I could see the sun setting behind the Sierra Nevada mountains. While making chicken pot pie and thinking about tomorrow's schedule, my cell phone rang with a call from Mark. "Mom, have you heard from Lily?" My son's voice was higher than usual, urgent. "No." "What's wrong?" Jennifer apparently came to the house. According to the court agreement, today isn't her visitation day. I immediately turned off the oven. They were in the middle of a custody dispute. Actions contrary to the agreement could affect the trial. "I'll go check on them right away." A 5-minute drive through the quiet residential streets of the DeMonte Ranch district. When I arrived at Mark's house, the sun was already setting. An unfamiliar car was parked in front of the 2-story White House. Jennifer's new car, perhaps. But looking closer, I noticed it had no license plates. As I approached the front door, I heard voices from inside. "Promise me, Lily. Don't tell anyone. Especially not your grandmother." "But Grandma would." "No." Suddenly, the conversation stopped. Lily had opened the door. Behind her stood a woman who looked nothing like the Jennifer I knew. The casino dealer who usually maintained perfect makeup and sophisticated attire now had disheveled hair and bloodshot eyes. Instead of her designer suit, she wore a wrinkled t-shirt and jeans. She seemed to be struggling to control her trembling hands. "Patricia." She called my name, started to say something more, then suddenly fell silent. "Jennifer, are you feeling unwell?" "Yes, a bit." She evaded, then hugged Lily tightly. The embrace felt like a final farewell. "I love you, Lily. Don't forget that." Then, turning to me, she whispered, "Please protect her," before hurriedly leaving the house. In Lily's hand remained a small piece of paper. It contained what looked like an encoded message written hastily on the back of an old receipt. That night, I stayed in Lily's room with her. She seemed more anxious than usual and had trouble falling asleep. The next morning, in the kitchen bathed in morning light, I was reading the newspaper. There was a small article on page 3. Casino-related debt collection cases surge, underground loan shark organization suspected. According to the article, high-value debt collections targeting casino employees had increased in recent months. Many victims had initially borrowed from legal consumer finance companies before turning to loan sharks for some reason. When I noticed my coffee had gone cold, the clock already showed 7 a.m. I had to drive Lily today. It hadn't even been 2 weeks since I started driving her around. On my way to the garage, our neighbor Robert Wilson called out to me. Before retirement, He had worked as an auto mechanic. "Patricia, how's the new car running?" "Well, it's been acting a bit strange since yesterday." "How so?" "The brakes seem a bit soft." Just then, my cell phone rang. It was an email from an unknown number. Opening it, I saw Jennifer as the sender. "The brakes on the car Lily rides in." The message cut off there. I tried to reply, but it wouldn't go through. My heart started racing. Entering the garage, I noticed an unfamiliar oil smell. When I started the engine, it made a louder noise than usual. But there was no time. I had to pick up Lily. My face in the rearview mirror suddenly looked older than usual. As I drove toward Mount Rose Highway, my mind swirled with ominous premonitions about Jennifer's strange behavior and the meaning of her cut-off message. The cluster of casino buildings overlooking Reno felt particularly mechanical and eerie this morning. At 3 p.m., when I parked at the McKinley Arts and Culture Center parking lot, my watch made a clicking sound. That sound would later feel like the prelude to the nightmare that was about to begin. Unusually, Lily came out late from her piano practice room. Instead of her usual light-hearted skip with her sheet music bag, she walked slowly, as if lost in thought. "Sorry, Grandma. I got caught up talking with the teacher." "What were you talking about?" "We were choosing a song for the Mother's Day recital." "But..." She cut off mid-sentence. Mother's Day. That was now the most taboo topic between Mark and Jennifer. About 15 minutes after we got onto Mount Rose Highway, the car started acting clearly strange. It started as a slight vibration. Just a little trembling in the steering wheel. But it gradually grew stronger. Even when I reduced speed, the vibration didn't subside. If anything, it seemed to be getting worse. "Grandma." Lily's voice came from the back seat. "Something's wrong with this car." Her face in the rearview mirror looked less worried and more like she had realized something. As if she had been waiting for this moment. "It's not just imagination," Lily continued. "Mom said to watch out for car noises." Just then, my cell phone rang. Answering on hands-free, an unfamiliar male voice came through. "Is this Patricia Carter?" "This is Detective Collins from the Reno Police Department." "Are you currently driving a Honda CR-V?" "Yes, I am." "Pull over to a safe spot immediately." Before he could finish, I pressed the brake pedal as hard as I could. However, instead of slowing down, the car began to accelerate. "Lily, fasten your seatbelt tight." I kept desperately pressing the brake. But the pedal began to thrash under my foot as if it had a life of its own. The speedometer needle climbed, 60 miles, 65 miles, 70 miles. Sirens began wailing behind us. Police cars. But their presence now brought not relief but greater terror enveloping us. "Get out of the vehicle immediately." The shout from the police car cut through the wind. Clear panic mixed in their voice. Lily had started crying in the back seat. Mom said, "If the car starts acting strange, jump out right away." In that instant, everything connected. The morning email, Jennifer's strange behavior, the article about casino-related debt collection. And most importantly, that piece of paper Lily had been clutching that night. What was written on it must have been a vehicle identification number. A police car pulled up alongside us. A young officer was desperately giving hand signals. Beyond him, another police car. I could see the officer inside shouting something into their radio. "Mrs. Carter." The officer's voice echoed in the car. "There's an emergency vehicle waiting area 500 yards ahead. Hold on until then." I gripped the steering wheel desperately. My palms were sweaty, my arms shaking. But I had never felt more clear-headed than at that moment. I had to protect Lily. Jennifer had been trying to warn us about this. The waiting area came into view. At that moment, a loud noise erupted from the engine, and black smoke began rising. The car's vibration reached its peak, filling the interior with creaking sounds as if everything was about to fall apart. "Lily, listen to me carefully," I said, trying to appear as calm as possible. "When we enter the waiting area, open your door and jump out immediately. The officers will be waiting." "What about you, Grandma?" "I'll get out of the car right after you." I knew those words wouldn't come true. Someone had turned this car into a machine from hell. And that someone had meticulously prepared to ensure the driver couldn't easily escape. 100 yards to the waiting area. Police cars moved in from both sides, escorting our car like guardrails. An ambulance was waiting beyond them. "Lily, ready. Jump when I give the signal." "No, Grandma. Let's go together." "It's okay, I promise I'll get out of the car after you." I held the steering wheel with my left hand and unlocked Lily's door with my right. 50 yards to the waiting area. "Now, Lily." I deliberately turned the wheel right. The centrifugal force opened Lily's door, and she was thrown out of the car. Officers rushed to catch her. At that moment, my car began to accelerate again. The driver's side door was now firmly locked, showing no signs of opening. The engine roared, and the car began to run wild, completely out of control. All I could do was pray. Pray that Lily was safe, and that Jennifer would forgive my decision. Just then, a new email arrived on my phone. The sender was Jennifer again. "Patricia, that car has been tampered with." Because I kept refusing, they were going to take Lily's life instead of mine, but I believed you would understand. As a mother, I did what I could do last. "I've notified the police." "I'm sorry." "And thank you." The car plunged into darkness. But strangely, my heart was at peace. My granddaughter was safe. And Jennifer's true love had been revealed through this incident. I was certain Lily had a mother she could be proud of. The police sirens grew distant. The ambulance lights were flashing. And the sound of helicopters coming from somewhere. As I thought this might be my final music, the world went black. Room 406 at Renown Regional Medical Center. The Sierra Nevada mountains are visible from the window. I regained consciousness 3 days after the accident. Fortunately, I had no serious injuries. They said the engine had completely shut down just before the car hit the guardrail. "It's a miracle," said Dr. Sarah Brown, my attending physician. "The brake lines were completely severed. It's amazing you maintained control at that speed." The room was overflowing with flowers from my former students. Red carnations, white lilies, and yellow gerberas. Their flower meanings: gratitude, purity, hope. The students I taught over 30 years were now giving me courage. Lily, who had held my hand all night without letting go, was sleeping beside the bed. Mark sat in the chair opposite her, reading a newspaper. The room's air carried a faint scent of flowers mixed with the hospital's characteristic antiseptic smell. Every time a nurse came to change the four, Lily would wake up and anxiously peer at my face. Each time, I would smile and whisper, "It's all right." A week later, I was discharged. When I returned home, there was a letter from Jennifer. The envelope was made of quality paper, with my name written carefully on the front. "Patricia, you were my salvation. Thank you for protecting Lily. I'm entering a rehabilitation program. I want to become a mother who can face her daughter with pride someday." Yesterday, I had a long talk with my counselor. The debts, the gambling, perhaps it was all an escape from reality. But my love for Lily was always real. I want to use those feelings as support for my life going forward. That evening, Mark came to announce an important decision. On the table were Lily's favorite chocolate chip cookies, with the aroma of coffee in the air. "I've decided to withdraw the divorce. Jennifer needs a chance at rehabilitation. And Lily needs her mother." A month later, Jennifer received weekend leave from the rehabilitation facility. The destination was McKinley Arts and Culture Center. It was the day of Lily's piano recital. During a visit at the facility, Jennifer confided in me. "At the facility, I wake up at 5 a.m. every morning to meditate. Then I write letters to Lily. I can't send them yet, but they're keeping them safe until the day I can give them to her." Chopin's Farewell echoed through the venue. In the audience, I held Jennifer's hand. Tears glistened in her eyes. But they weren't tears of sadness. When Lily finished performing, the venue filled with warm applause. And on stage, the young girl smiled straight at her mother sitting in the front row. "There are new forms of family," I said to Mark while driving home. "They don't have to be perfect. What matters is that everyone keeps moving forward." The sun was setting over Reno. Today, the casino neons seemed to shine like beacons of hope. Our car was driving slowly but surely toward a new future. 6 months after that incident. Now, Lily visits Jennifer on weekends. Mark is gradually rebuilding his relationship with his ex-wife. And I've started volunteering to read books at the rehabilitation facility every Wednesday. The other day, I saw Jennifer sitting in a circle with other residents at the facility, engaged in serious discussion. She was sharing her experiences, trying to support others in similar situations. In her presence, I sensed a new kind of strength. Lily is now practicing a new piece for the Mother's Day recital, Debussy's Clair de Lune. "I'm playing it for Mom," she says proudly. Her profile shone brighter than ever before. Life sometimes presents us with unimaginable trials. But there's always light beyond them. We learned this truth firsthand. And now, that light continues to gently illuminate our family's new path forward. I'm writing this story on a spring afternoon, 1 year after the incident. Outside my window, the geraniums are beginning to bloom again. On my desk sits a handmade card from Lily. In her small handwriting, it reads, Thank you, Grandma. We're going to be all right.